I mean, this was in New York. You saw this sign. One person with a pistol just shook the ruling class. More than decades of peaceful organizing. One less CEO, many more to go. You've seen wanted signs for healthcare CEOs popping up in New York. This is spreading, and it's not just about United Health Group. Hey, it's Jordan. I am in Flint, Michigan, East Palestine, Ohio, Tumwa, Iowa. Please support the only independent outlet on the ground covering what the corporate media covers up. Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup. Whether the politicians and elite corporate media like it or not, it sure seems like the societal craze and support for Luigi Mangione, the suspected shooter of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, is spreading. Last night at a concert goers went nuts at the mere images of Mangione. But before I show you that, I want to give you an update because I don't know who's paying for it, potentially his family or other sources. But Mangione has retained a high-powered New York attorney as he faces second-degree murder charges there. So let me give you details of his new legal team. Luigi Mangione has retained a high-powered New York attorney to represent him as he faces second-degree murder charge in the death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This is according to CNN. Karen Friedman Agnifilo will represent him in New York. Friedman Agnifilo previously worked as the chief assistant district attorney in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office under Cyrus Vance Jr. for 7 years, and is a veteran with deep experience in New York City's criminal justice system. Quote, she's got as much experience as any human being, especially in the state court, one longtime New York prosecutor told CNN. She knows every corridor, every judge, every clerk in the courthouse. Friedman Agnifilo, who previously served as a CNN legal contributor, declined to comment. Mangione's new attorney will be taking on his case as investigators have amassed new evidence in recent days, with police telling CNN this week the 3D printed gun he had on him when he was arrested matches the 3 shell casings. So, and a Pennsylvania state judge has denied Mangione bail. So he comes from a wealthy family. I don't know for certain, but you would presume it's the family or vast, just crowdfunding legal resources. But this is a pretty hefty lawyer who's worked in the New York City legal system for a very long time. And again, working in Manhattan District's Attorney's Office, that's a heavy hitter. So he's going to have damn good representation when he is extradited. Now, I want to tell you more about Luigi's apparent mindset into not just the healthcare system, but politics, humanity. So now let me show you at a concert last night in Boston, concert goers lost it in a good way at images of Luigi Mangione on the big screen. You got to give the people what they want. I mean, this is one concert, but we're seeing support all over social media, in street signs, which I'm going to show you in a little bit, for Luigi Mangione. Some of you might not like that. There's plenty of people in the media saying and scolding people for, glorifying a alleged assassin. But the zeitgeist and society sure seems to be with him. And let me give you a little details on this concert, because it's kind of funny if you think about it. It's called Bop to the Top, and it is a DJ-led dance night, spinning your favorite Disney throwbacks with high-energy performances, crowd participation, and main character moments dancing on stage. So this is kind of like a Disney sing-along. And they were dancing along to Luigi Mangione. So, the elites and politicians could scold and could talk down to you and condescend for, glorifying or being gleeful at the murder of a CEO. But maybe they should be evaluating, why are the masses literally cheering for this. Whether you agree with it morally or not, what is setting that societal reaction off? Why? We know the answer. It sure seems they don't want to hear it. I want to show you more because this is kind of spreading, and these signs are being taken down quickly all over the country. But I mean, this was in New York. You saw this sign. One person with a pistol just shook the ruling class, more than decades of peaceful organizing. It seems somebody hacked into a street traffic sign in Seattle. One less CEO, many more to go. And as has been reported, you've seen wanted signs for healthcare CEOs popping up in New York on the subway. You had Brian Thompson's face up there, with a cross through it. You also had another executive here, another healthcare executive sign head on a wanted sign. You also had Andrew Kitty's head on a want sign. He is Andrew Whitty, excuse me. He is the CEO of the parent company, United Health Group. So this is spreading, and it's not just about United Health Group. They're putting signs and faces of other CEOs up, and it very well could spread to Wall Street, big oil. I mean, who knows? And there's a lot of people that have been clamoring for this for many years. There were people in Occupy Wall Street. I was there not as a reporter, but just went down to participate years ago. There were people there, calling for more aggressive protests, calling for, putting up wanted signs for CEOs. I remember it back then. So this is definitely spreading. I want to give you more details that are coming out now about Mangione himself. Some of his Reddit posts have come out in recent days. I want to read you this one. He was allegedly, this was his screen name, Mr. Cactus, wrote on the subreddit in April that his condition, spondylolisthesis, which is a severe back condition, quote, went bad to the point where I felt it every day. Reddit posts from last year point to an injury flare-up after the account holder went surfing. The moment aggravated back pain, which Mr. Cactus said he dealt with since childhood, according to a post in July of 2023. Other posts suggest the account holder underwent spinal fusion surgery sometime around the date. Mr. Cactus told another user 2 weeks before the procedure, I keep wondering why I was so afraid of it. The next month, it appeared Mr. Cactus experienced positive results from the operation. He wrote that after a week, quote, he was on literally zero pain meds and was able to sit, walk, and stand. When my talking about spondylolisthesis, the condition, went bad on me last year, it was completely devastating as a young athletic person, Mr. Cactus wrote in a separate post in August 2023, referring to himself as a 23-year-old male with spondylolisthesis. These descriptions are consistent with information Mangione shared with Martin, his friend in Hawaii. But there's more that kind of tells you a little bit more about his, I guess, political perspectives and his views, not just on healthcare, but kind of society at large. Mangione had mentioned Ted Kaczynski, Gurwinder, the Unabomber, to Gurwinder Bogle, a British freelance writer and Substack author, who exchanged some 20 messages with Mangione from April through June. Bogle said, Mangione was a, quote, founding member of his newsletter and expressed a mix of left-wing and right-wing political views. He also vented about the high cost of healthcare in the U.S., Bogle said. Quote, overall, the impression I got of him, besides his curiosity and kindness, was a deep concern for the future of humanity and a determination to improve himself and the world, Bogle wrote in an email to NBC News. Bogle said he and Mangione had, quote, briefly touched on the differences between the UK and US healthcare systems. Luigi complained about how expensive healthcare in the US was and expressed envy at the UK's nationalized health system. During their exchanges, Bogle said Mangione discussed spending time in Japan and worried people there don't really live their lives. Most of the young men are addicted to video games, pornography, and other shallow entertainments. One thing he said was the people around him were on a different wavelength, and he was eager to be part of a community of like-minded people. He suggested I schedule group video calls as he really wanted to meet my other founding members and start a community based on ideas like rationalism, stoicism, and effective altruism. So it seems that he was not only laser focused on healthcare, but he felt perhaps technology was, having a detrimental effect on society and people. He mentioned people on their phones constantly and playing video games in Japan. He cared about humanity. He wrote, he said Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, he left a review of a book about him saying that he rightfully was in jail, but also, essentially calling him a political revolutionary. I wouldn't go as far and say he was praising him, but, pointing out favorably his viewpoint. So it seems that you had a mix of two things. One, he experienced severe health problems. We still don't know if he was denied health care or had surgery delayed in any way. We know that according to previous Reddit posts, several doctors he went to for his back condition had refused to give him surgery, saying he was too young. So maybe that had something to do with his, hatred towards the for-profit healthcare system. But he came from a wealthy family, and we, at this point, don't know, if he had serious delays to getting treatment or if he had personal experiences with the healthcare industry. But it seems like he cared way more than just how he was personally affected. He cared about society overall in terms of the predatory for-profit healthcare system, the detrimental effects of technology, et cetera. And obviously, he had studied the UK healthcare system and perhaps other countries' healthcare systems that, just give their citizens healthcare as a right of being citizens. You pay a little bit more for taxes and you get healthcare, which is a human right. I want to play this clip also. This is from News Nation. Wendell Potter, who's kind of a big pharma whistleblower now. He used to be a VP and a propagandist by his own telling at Cigna, the major for-profit healthcare company. He has been going on TV since this murder and kind of sharing the behind the scenes of the predatory for-profit healthcare system that he was a part of. Let me play this clip.
You make the point that delay is a tactic. And delay can be deadly. In other words, just keep kicking the can down the road. Again, that's the title of that book. That was what was written on the bullets. But this is a common practice as well, and a real one.
It is. It is a common practice. It's one of the barriers these companies have erected to enable them to enrich their shareholders even more. Referencing that investor day that United was holding the day of the murder. That is the stakeholder that is most important to these companies, the shareholder and Wall Street financial analyst.
Yeah, hang on that, because you wrote an editorial today, and I want to read because you're referencing it. You read in that editorial, restricting patients' access to needed care made United Health, Cigna, and a handful of other big insurers Wall Street darlings and made lots of people lots of money while doing little to enhance care. You go on to say that at these investor conferences, the one where Brian Thompson was attending and he was supposed to speak, the word patient is rarely, if ever, mentioned, while profit margin and shareholder value are uttered frequently.
Exactly. That's exactly right. I saw that throughout my career and working with the other C-suite executives. It's all about how can you reward shareholders and what you have to do that is detrimental to the people who enroll in your health plans. You were talking about medical debt. That's another barrier that they've erected. And one of the other reasons I left is because I knew that these companies and the health plans are pushing us all into. They have high deductibles. They make us pay hundreds and sometimes thousands of dollars out of our own pockets before they will cover a dime of worth of our care. That's why we have $220 billion of medical debt, why 100 million of us have medical debt, and the vast majority of those people have health insurance. It's just not adequate. It doesn't cover what it used to, and people are facing delays even when insurance companies are supposedly going to give us access to care. They delay and often deny it when it should be approved readily.
And I think that's a major point that people need to realize and might be missing, as he says, Wendell Potter, who I've reached out to for an interview, by the way, people are laser focused on the healthcare companies, rightly so. But don't forget Wall Street, J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, all of them, the very criminals that helped tank the financial industry and the global economy in 2008 and 2009, and not one of them went to jail. I digress. We live in the United Corporations of America. But who is the industry that is most heavily invested in for-profit healthcare systems? Big pharma, Wall Street investment banks, private equity firms, hedge funds. They are the ones making the most money off of these for-profit healthcare systems, killing you and shortening your life. So it's not just the for-profit healthcare industry that deserve your ire. It's the for-profit Wall Street banks and investment firms that are screwing you by making money investing off of this. It's kind of the same thing. Why did Obama back in the day allow oil goons, police in North Dakota, literally working on behalf of an oil company to beat the living shit out of Native Americans peacefully protesting at Standing Rock? I was there freezing my tushy off. Why? Not because Obama was directly getting a ton of money from oil companies. The oil companies predominantly give to Republicans, because Obama and the Democrats are getting tons of money from Wall Street banks who are very heavily invested in those pipelines. So it's all connected in a very corrupt, incestuous way. And I want to just show, there's so many clips flying around of people's horror stories, but this one stood out to me. Let me show you. This is a clip I found on TikTok of a young mother, and just listen to this story. It's one of so many of, speaking of medical debt, having to pay an insane amount of money for her young kids' diabetes.
We pay $1,800 a month for a family of 4 to have health insurance. My daughter was recently diagnosed with diabetes, and they are charging us $4,000 on top of our monthly premium. They are charging us $4,000 for the services that she had to literally save her life. On top of that, they would not cover her insulin pen that she needs. She gets half doses of insulin based on her carbs, and for some reason they didn't cover that. Why the fuck am I paying you $2,000 a month if you're not going to even cover what she needs? So it's really hard for me to feel sorry for the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, honestly, or his family, knowing that they have screwed people out of literally their lives. They have not covered things that are medically necessary, life-saving measures to keep people alive. It's not like people ask for diabetes. It's not like people ask for cancer. These are things that just happen, and you shouldn't have to die because you can't fucking afford it.
$1,800 a month for a family of 4, which right there is crazy. Then on top of that, $4,000 for her kids' diabetes? Wait a minute. I thought Obamacare was supposed to protect against pre-existing conditions. So they're getting charged an additional $4,000 because her kid has diabetes, and then they won't even pay for the insulin? I failed math, but $1,800, $4,000, that's almost $6,000 a month. How the hell are you supposed to pay your mortgage, childcare, save a little bit for college, groceries, car insurance, all the other costs? I don't even know people with 2 working parents that could afford that. It's insane. And yet we see politicians tweeting out and putting out healthcare is a human right. Apparently not. So I think, and we have heard this from many in response to the CEO's murder, maybe we need to start thinking about and redefining what the term violence really means, because this is violence against the American people. And you know what? Whether people like it or not, the people are speaking. You got people going nuts at concerts, cheering on Luigi Mangione. As the holidays approach, you might see even more kind of signs and, posters and who the hell knows, ornaments with his image. And it's not just about one man. It's just about the entire corrupt system. I've been saying forever, the neoliberal bubble is popping. People are fed up, not just on the left, on the right, across the board. And unfortunately, if the response is only going to be these for-profit predatory healthcare systems and companies, building their fort higher and putting barbed wire around it so you can't get to them, and an army of security guards. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if that's going to stop the hatred. I don't know if that's going to stop further attempts at violence. Something's got to be done here. I don't know if the politicians will, because the politicians are purchased by UnitedHealthcare, Cigna, and the rest of them. So it might just take all of us. Thank you for supporting Status Coup. We are almost at 300,000 subscribers. Please subscribe if you're new here. And if you want to support actual living, breathing, independent journalism and on-the-ground journalism, we're currently planning our next on-the-ground reporting trip. Please sign up for as low as $5 a month. That's 16 cents a day to support an outlet that covers what the corporate media covers up.